Hi everyone, welcome to the video. This is part 1 of all netgun tech and duck game, or most netgun tech and duck game I should say. The video is going to be covering like all sorts of basic mechanics about the netgun, as well as some slightly more advanced stuff like with wall shots and how they interact with block groups and stuff. And some basic mechanics I think a lot of older players don't actually know, which is cool. And then part 2 will cover more like advanced clips and tech and stuff, and more like bugs and glitches and more niche stuff. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. To start off, the basic principles of the netgun, basic mechanics. So the netgun has 4 shots, each consisting of this projectile. And this projectile will go on as long as it has some velocity or some like movement. And so like if it hits a wall, or if like it hits a floor or something where it can't cross, where there's like a corner, it's just going to disappear. But like for example, it can like curve down walls and stuff because it will still have velocity. So it's very useful for like stuff like this. If someone's hiding behind like a wall, you can curve it like that. And also, for example, if the netgun were to be put on a spring like this, for example, it will go on forever because it will not run out of like velocity and stuff like that. And same for a spring like this, it will go on forever. When a duck gets netted, it's approximately 5.5 seconds before they get out, and I can put the timer up on screen. And so to reduce the timer, if I spam jump, I would get out in around 2.5 seconds. So it basically almost halves the time. And so actually, looking into the code, thank you to Firebreak for doing this, but if you actually look in the code, jumping while on the ground will reduce the timer by 0.25 seconds, and jumping while in the air will actually still reduce the timer by 0.05 seconds. So I think a lot of people don't know this, but if you jump while you're in the air or like on a spawner or something like this, you're still going to get out in the reduced time, even though like you can't actually do the physical jump animation. So like, for example, if I'm on a spring or if you're getting held by another duck, you can still jump normally and you'll still get out in the 2.5 seconds, like you can see here. But for example, if I were to be on this spring and spamming jump, I would get out a little bit faster. I think it's around 4.5 seconds. So that is pretty significant. Also, even if you are moving at a high speed, you still are able to jump, even though it doesn't look like this. I'm still able to get it out in around the same 2.5 seconds. And if I'm in a spawner, I can't jump, but if I still spam jump, I can get out pretty fast because of the fact that you still reduce the timer. So I just want to point out that, like a quick disclaimer, that all the timers in this video are based on frames. So like it's seconds, and then because the footage is at 60 frames per second and the game runs at 60 frames per second, so all the part after the seconds is frames. So it's actually different, because when I say the net timer gets reduced by 25 or 0.25 seconds or 0.05 seconds, it's a different conversion to frames, because like milliseconds and stuff that's smaller than a second has a different like conversion and stuff. I just want to point out, I'm just noticing some weird inconsistencies with netgun timings on like spawners, because spawners you can't actually jump, so it should take like 4.5 seconds to get out if you're like doing maximum jumps, and for some reason occasionally it takes like 4.5 seconds to get out, and occasionally it takes 2 seconds to get out, and I have no idea why. And I'm pretty sure it has to do something with when the item is spawned. So like for example, if I reset the map, the item hasn't actually spawned yet. So if I do this, it's going to take 4 seconds for me to get out by jumping. And I think that has something to do with it. But I'm not sure why that is the case. But it's just interesting to see that it is different. So yeah. And one cool thing is one net can hit 2 ducks. So like if we're both against the wall and we're both like touching each other, or like on top of each other, the single net will hit both ducks, which is really cool. I also want to point out another like visual thing that I don't think anyone notices. If you look at the middle of the net gun, and you see there's like a white circle with a black dot, that will tell you how many shots is actually in the net gun. So you see it's over the green, the black dot's over the green right now. So if I fire, it has 2 shots in the green because it has 4 shots. So 2 shots in the green, now it'll move to yellow. See, now it's in the yellow. And now if I shoot one more time, it moves to red. And then that's my last shot, and now it's in gray, which means I don't have any more ammo left. And I think not many people know about that, but it's really cool visual guide. So if you're just picking up a net gun that you don't know how many shots it has, you can kind of tell pretty quickly. When you're in a net, you can also, if you hold the direction keys, you can move back and forth, left and right. And so what I like to do is I like to do this as like positioning. So like let's say I'm near a ledge. What I'll sometimes do is like, let's say the duck is trying to jump up to me and like throw me off because they like angled up in something and they netted me. So what I'll do is I'll wait for them to get very close to me, and then I'll just fall off the ledge. And so this gives me like the maximum distance and the maximum time to escape, which is very useful because it's a matter of seconds and split seconds. And what you can also do is if let's say they're below you and they're gonna like jump up to get you, you can just fall off and try to crush them. Although, like, if you see when I'm jumping here, like, I can only jump a limited number of times, and of course when I'm spamming jump, like, the faster you spam jump, even though you can only jump when you hit the ground. So, like, your jump will only refresh a certain number of times, but you can still spam jump really fast and get out faster because of the fact that if you press jump without, like, actually jumping, then that still reduces the timer by, like, 1/5 of the time. So if you do like a butterfly click with 2 fingers, or are really good at mashing, then you can get out like a nice advantage like over other players in like a considerable amount of time, even if it was only like 1/3 of a second or something like that. But that can still matter. But if you're under a block, so like if you see here, if I'm actually under a block, you see I can mash jump way faster. And then this can save like 1/2 a second or more. See, because my jump will refresh much faster because I'm hitting the ceiling and going back to the ground much faster. So if you get netted in water, or you get thrown into water or a liquid that's not like lava so you don't die, but like gasoline or something like that, because if you notice how much farther away my jumps are, like how much slower it is for me to return to the ground, because like I showed before, when I'm underneath this, my jumps are really fast because I instantly touch the ground again, so I'm able to jump. But because I touch the ground so much slower, it takes way longer to get out. And of course, you can still spam jump, and it will still reduce the timer by like 1/5 of the time, even when you're not touching the floor. But just keep in mind that you generally don't want to fall into liquids. Like, if you have the option, you want to stay out of liquids, if possible. And also just something to keep in mind is that if you are under spikes like this or whatever, you will die because when you get out of a net, even if you don't jump, you still will pop up a little bit, which is enough to die if you're in like this layer of the spikes, if there's spikes on a too high ceiling. But there's also another interaction with this, where if you are getting thrown off an edge, for example, you can buffer a jump right as you get out of the net. So, like, for example, if I'm in the net here, I can buffer a jump right as I get out, like just like that, and that sort of can give me an extra bit of height, which is very useful, especially if you're like getting thrown off the edge right as you're about to burst out of the net. Then you can like if you spam jump more, then you can jump back onto the map. And so that map is here. So let's say, for example, that you can't throw some off the edge in time, and if you throw them off the edge, they're gonna live or whatever, or they're gonna like jump out before. You can just plop them in here, and then they'll instantly die. Just be careful that they can wiggle sideways and then wiggle out like that. So it's best to just hold them. So like if you hold them, they can't wiggle back and forth. and no matter what they do, they'll instantly die because they'll get forced upwards. And another thing, as you might know, is that nets act like boxes, where you can crush them, but you can also, you can crush them and then you can use them to crush other things. So like, for example, with this gray duck, what's cool is if I have a box, then I can use it to crush this duck, and I can also use the duck to crush other people, and I can use it as the box. And what a really cool trick is if you don't have anything to crush them with, you can crush them with yourself. So if like there's no like guns or anything around to kill the duck, what you can do is you can just shoot them and then shoot on top of them and like run into your own net gun and like sort of drop on them, which will kill them. So for example, on this map, if you have someone netted in the corner, you can do like this and crush them like that, or you can do something like and if you're not comfortable doing that stuff, what's really cool is, I mean, of course you can just throw them in the lava like that, and like if you just do a max jump, like over here for example, you can throw them in the lava. But like there's other cooler ways to do it. Okay, so there's another actual pretty swag way to throw a duck in lava, and it's actually super useful because like let's say for example it's going to take too long for you to do the really slow way and jump up here and throw them in, or because like they're about to get out, or like it's too slow to go over here for whatever reason. I mean, you can just do something like this where you do a ragdoll jump grab and throw them in like that. That's pretty fast, but you just have to be holding them beforehand and something like that. But another thing you can do, and this works with all props, which is really useful. And so if you are to throw the duck upwards, it's like me, for example, I have up and jump bound to the same key, so I literally just have to hold jump, and then I can throw upwards. And so usually this would crush someone, right? And you don't want to crush them if you throw them upwards. You don't want to crush yourself, of course, because you're the one throwing them. So if you do a ragdoll jump right after you throw them upwards, you don't die because they're actually still going upwards. So if a like prop that can kill you is still going upwards, and you like jump into it, you won't die, which is really nice. And so what you can just do is if you just throw them upwards, and then just do a ragdoll jump and throw, and it works best around this point, just like that. So one thing I just want to point out is how net guns can actually block bullets, which is very useful, especially if you're trying to use a net gun versus like a pistol or something. So I have this set up here where it will constantly fire net gun shots at me. So you can see here that there's this netted duck, and if I fire into it with this, if I fire into the net with the pistol, you see how the shots are getting blocked and they won't pass by. So this just shows how the net gun can block any non-piercing bullets. So like a sniper shot will go through, you see how that goes through. And stuff like a magnum, which has piercing, like anything that can pierce through a door will be able to like go through this shot. And stuff like a phaser, like a charged phaser will be able to go through, as you can see. But the normal phaser won't be able to. So like if I just fire like the small bullets, you see how they're getting stopped. And the grenade launcher also like will get stopped. See how its path is stopped, and it will actually explode on the net. So like for example, if someone is firing in, like if you fire a net at someone and they're about to shoot their grenade launcher, it will explode on the net, and it will kill them. So, but yeah, you can see like here, the piercing bullet will go through and hit the duck. But yeah. So one more thing I want to mention is how a net gun projectile can catch on fire. So you see here, if it would light a flame, then it will spew projectile, or it will spew fire until the fire burns out. And another example is if a net gun projectile were to go through the flames, it will catch on fire and light the netted duck on fire. And this also works if it goes through lava and stuff like that. And so there's another interaction with the camping gun that's very useful, because if a duck is in the camping gun and they don't like wiggle to escape, then they'll stay in there forever, and there's like not a timer that they'll just like escape even if they don't move. So let's say someone's trying to like get you to like bait out your shot or whatever, and you have a net gun, or like you're gonna throw them off, but then they can just wiggle to escape. What you can do is instead of waiting for them to escape and then netting them, you can just net them inside the camping bag, and that will work very well. And an added bonus to this is if you somehow still don't manage to kill them, if they try to ragdoll, they'll get re-stuck in the camping bag because it saves their previous state, which is very nice to know. Okay, so that's it for basic netgun tech. I just want to talk about now advanced, or like angling and stuff that's slightly more advanced. And then I'll go into clips and stuff, maybe in part 2. So in terms of angling for net guns, what's special that I think is like unique about them is that because they come down, they arc, which is really cool. If I do like a third frame, like just like that, it comes down much faster, and it only comes down like, what is this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks away, or something like that. So what's useful, if someone's like hiding on the other side of there, for example, you can like do a third frame. Of course, you have to line it up properly, but like you can do a third frame and like get them there, which is very nice. So because nets are not like normal bullets, and they have a special type of projectile that doesn't just disappear when it hits a wall, they can do actually all different types of wall shots, which is really useful. So for example, while they can just do the normal wall shot, they can also do, which most guns can't, they can do all 3 of the down angles, and just like stuff like that. And this will make the nets come out of the wall slower than usual. So like that was like a third frame, it's pretty fast. That's a first frame where it just like really slowly goes out of the net, or out of the wall. Like that's a first frame, third frame, second frame, I think that's the second frame. But yeah, you can like basically, depending on what angle you do, you can have it come out at a different speed. So I'm pretty sure that was the second frame where like you can see it like kind of hits the wall. And because if I show collisions, you see there's the different orange lines, and so the net gun is going to be stuck between those lines. So if you see when I do like a first frame angle, well, normally it goes to the edge or to the bottom of the orange line before it comes out of the wall, just like it's sliding out of the wall. Because with a normal gun, it'll just hit the wall and just disappear, because that's how normal bullets work. And this also has unique interactions with block groups, which is really cool. Okay, so this is a block group because it's in green, you can see. And so the net guns have several interactions with them. So firstly, if I shoot upwards in them or do an upwards angle in them, and the only other way I'm able to do an upwards angle is if I do like a full rotating one. So if I just face one direction and fully rotate the other way, you can see my gun will point upwards in an upwards angle. I just can't do it specifically here, it will just go straight up because it's not upwards enough in the wall. But like the main use case for this type of thing is on map Snow 14, and I talk like a lot about that in my advanced wall clips video, and it's very good examples. So yeah, you should definitely check that out if you're interested in this stuff. If you just do a straight wall shot, it's not going to do anything because it's just going straight through. It's not like being affected by the block group. However, if you do a first frame angle or second frame angle, it will come out the top, and it will come out depending on like different speeds and stuff. So like if you do a first frame angle like that, it will come out very slowly, and if you do second frame, it will come out faster. And so that's very useful on certain maps. And then yeah, if you just know where block groups are and stuff like that, you can, if you know where block groups are on certain maps, you can really abuse this and stuff like that. So it can be really useful. And the other thing you can do is with, if the floor is a block group, you can just shoot it through. Like if you just do a angle save sort of, but it's not really even an angle save. If you just put the gun down and then turn around, and sliding works better too, or like crouching. Because like if I just do a normal wall shot, it's like this, but I can have it so it would like go under, so like if there's a block, like sort of like this. If I do like a wall shot, well, like I can try to do it precisely and get it underneath. Because there's a block group, you can also sort of just shoot it through, and you see how it's going inside the block. It's like the block isn't even there. And that's sort of how net guns treat block groups, like once they're in the block group, they sort of treat it like it's not even there. And like you can do like a floor shots that are really easy and stuff. And net guns just all around love block groups. And yeah, you can try to experiment this on your own and try to find new block grouping use cases and stuff like that. Okay, so the next tech I want to mention with net guns, and I just want to say this works with most guns that have sort of lowish knockback. So of course the net gun, you might be saying like, of course the net gun has like high knockback, but like if you do like a third frame angle, it doesn't really give you any height. And so you can land on spikes this way, and there's a few maps that this is specifically useful for. But the basic principle behind how it works is if you're going at a slow enough speed, the spikes won't like register there, and you'll be able to just land on them without dying. So if you are falling and you do like a third frame angle or a first or fourth frame angle, it slows you down just enough if you do it right before you hit. So you won't die, and you can just land on spikes just like that. But this is the most useful map where you landing on spikes is useful, because you can kind of just like go down here, land on spikes like that. Also keep in mind that this entire like middle section is a block group, so you can just shoot through it, and like if someone's on the other side, you can just shoot through it and kill them. And not many people know about this. And then you can just like angle save your way out and like angle someone like that. It's honestly pretty useful. I use it a lot. But yeah, if you do it too close, it's also kind of risky. Okay, I just wanted to give an example of where the shooting through block groups is most useful in game. And I'd say the most useful scenario is on this map, because if I show collisions, you can see that this entire segment's a block group, and this entire segment's also a block group. So this is really useful because, like, let's say you see the gray duck over here is either trying to get this net gun or in this area at all. It's really easy to just shoot through the wall and net them like that. You just need to jump up, like do a max height jump, and then do a wall shot. And it's pretty easy to net someone that way. And like even if they do know about it, it's pretty hard to play around, and like you can't jump up this entire area because you can just net someone right there. I do want to point out that it is like reversible. Like you're not completely safe here, but like you can't be attacked from above because of this platform, and the net gun won't go through the platform, the net gun shots. And also like if someone's gonna shoot you from below, you can just like do like an angle save and get out really easily. And if someone is gonna shoot you through this block group, it is very difficult, and you can almost always just shoot them first. So yeah. So if you did want to reverse this shot and shoot from here to the gray duck, it is definitely possible. You just need to fall through this platform and then do one of like 3 different angles. If you do a first or second or third frame angle, where it's more flat, it's going to hit the duck if they're standing here. And if you do a first frame angle, it's going to hit the duck if they're standing here. And it can also hit them if they're standing here. But it will just move more slowly. So that was like a second frame angle, I think. But yeah, you can see by the way it's moving slower. So you see that was the first frame angle because it like moved really slowly, and it didn't even get to this part of the platform before it fell. So that's why you're able to net the duck on the spawner there. Okay, so it is also definitely possible to hit the duck if they're in here. Because it's a block group, you can just, if you do a max height jump here, and then just do a wall shot, assuming you get the timing correct, you can just net the duck in here. And what's also cool is, this is not a feature of the block groups, but you can also just do a ceiling shot here. So if I turn off collisions, if you see that when I jump, like if I do a slide jump, and then do a shot, you see how the barrel of my gun will go upwards slightly. You see that how the barrel of my gun will go upwards slightly. So if I fired during that time, you saw I was able to shoot out and hit the duck right here. So if you are able to get like consistent at the shot, which can be kind of difficult, and you see like even if I do hit it, the timing, you have to hit it I think a slightly earlier. We do a slightly earlier slide. But this is a very definitely commanding position for the map because you can hit almost anywhere. So yeah, and it's kind of hard to hit you. I mean, of course someone can go like if they're like up here, for example, they can just like flutter and wall shot you there. But overall, I'd say this is probably one of the better spots. Okay, so that's going to be all the tech I'm going to talk about in this video. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, or any suggestions for something you'd like to see. And also, please share this video with anyone who might be interested. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'm sorry for not uploading for a few weeks. I've just been incredibly busy IRL. But yeah, part 2 of the netgun tech, which is like more advanced netgun stuff and like bugs and glitches and more niche stuff. That will probably come in a few days once I'm finished editing it. And yeah, after that I'll probably do my video on portals, which should be good. And yeah, some more weapon tech. Keep on duck gaming. Peace.